Britain is voting today in a general election that's widely expected to hand a landslide win to the opposition Labour, ending 14 years of Conservative rule. The first national election since Boris Johnson led the Tories to a decisive victory in 2019 follows Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's surprise call to hold the polls 6 months earlier than expected. The gamble might backfire spectacularly as surveys point to a huge defeat for the right-wing party and almost certainly put Labour leader Keir Starmer in Downing Street with an almost supermajority. The UK operates under a first-past-the-post system where voters elect representatives from 650 constituencies. The party that wins most seats, at least 326, will form the government. Its leader will become the Prime Minister. In the case that no party secures a majority, the existing Prime Minister gets the first opportunity to form a coalition government. The main political parties in the fray include the Conservative Party, led by Prime Minister Rishi Sunak, the Labour, led by Keir Starmer, the Liberal Democrats, led by Ed Davey, the Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, the Scottish National Party, led by John Swinney, and the Green Party, co-led by Carla Denaya and Adrian Ramsay. Keir Starmer has hailed a new age of hope and opportunity as millions of people prepare to vote in a general election that could deliver the biggest shake-up of British politics in a generation. With Rishi Sunak's closest allies appearing to concede defeat for the Conservatives and the final opinion polls predicting an unprecedented Labour victory, Starmer has said he hopes Britain is about to enter a new chapter. On the last day of a fractious 6-week campaign, reports emerged that Prime Minister Rishi Sunak had confided to members of his inner circle that he was fearful of losing his own seat in Richmond. A new YouGov poll has predicted that 16 cabinet ministers would lose their seats, potentially handing Starmer the biggest majority for any single party since 1832. Leading Tories, including the sacked former Home Secretary Suella Braverman and the Work and Pensions Secretary Mel Stride, have also made clear that election defeat appears inevitable. The Tories experienced yet another blow on Wednesday as the Rupert Murdoch-owned Sun newspaper made an abrupt volte-face, putting its support behind the Labour Party for the first time since 2005. After years of fiercely critical coverage of Labour and personal attacks on its leader, the Sun has now endorsed Starmer, saying it is time for a change, which means that it is time for Labour. The outcome would see Britain swing leftwards back to the centre ground after almost a decade and a half of right-wing Conservative governments dominated first by austerity, then Brexit and a cost-of-living crisis. Rishi Sunak has sought to hammer home his oft-repeated warnings that a Labour government would mean tax rises and weaker national security, jibes that Labour has branded a desperate attempt to cling to power.